Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you might be watching Burning Questions. It's a brand new season. Now, we call it a brand new season because we just took 3 weeks off. That's all. There was no actual reason. But we call it, this is a brand new, it's like Netflix or Stan or Binge. You get a new season of Burning Questions, and haven't they been absolutely gagging for it? Yes, they have. And my partner in crime is back from a short sabbatical. Nikkita Ross, how are you?
Hello, Bon. Going very well, thanks, and excited to be back. We've obviously had a few people asking where Burning Questions is, which is good to know that people are looking for it. So it's great to be back.
The King of BQ also joins us, and he's made plenty of comments on my grey hair, your lightened hair colour, and he hasn't been very well of recent times. Andrew Patrick Gath, how are you, brother?
Yeah, no, good. Nice. Be back.
So, how close to losing you did we come? It sounds like you were in a dire state there for a few days.
Yeah, no. If I could have reached the phone and dialed 000, I probably would have.
It was that. That's bad when you can't. You can't actually. You're dying. You can't even get to 000, and all branded up like the. Sorry, Andy.
Only would have been on hold anyway, I suppose, if I did get through.
A little bit of nurse on call just for a chat. And all branded up, we've got Matty Craven, who I'm told, now I was unable to make the night of nights, but in terms of staying potential, they reckon you did a pretty good job, Matty Craven.
Oh, I don't know about that, Bon. I'm just glad that you've made it through the Mildura Carnival. Like, it wasn't just that you fell off the horse, from all reports.
Right. We better move on. I think you're celebrating a win or shoveling in the stables. You want your staff to look their very best. You've shook me there, Matty. And you do that with uniforms from Hip Pocket Workwear and Safety. They have you covered for clothing, protective equipment, which you sometimes need, and plenty more. Check out hippocketworkwear.com.au. What a start from Matty Craven. Burning Questions, first question. Matty, I'll go to you. Are these 8 restricted finals, and there's plenty of them on Saturday night, I'm calling it finals night, the 1 or sometimes 2 horse races that they seem, or is there a little bit more at play? Is there a rough diamond or two to be found that we might need to dig plenty to find?
I think you'll find, Bon, the heat's probably going to tell the major story into the finals. With a lot of these horses, their exposed form will probably run true into this week, I'd say. A lot of these horses haven't had a lot of racing, and the ones that have showed up early are generally consistent into the final. You don't generally see too many of them prove in the space of a week if they haven't had a lot of racing.
Andy, to quote Seinfeld, there was a great episode where they said, I think there's more to Newman, and Jerry said, no, there's less. And I think there might be less to these. I tried to really dig and find something special, but it looks to me as though what you see is what you get with most of them.
Well, it's hopefully for 2 races, it's the case. I think, don't have to the final, so is probably what you're going to get. Probably 2-year-old trotters is the one there's a little bit of after one start, I find. So they're probably the ones marks, but I think hopefully most of them will be pretty straightforward, you'd guess.
I'm going to need you to talk, because I'm going to need you to pretend you're Michael Guerin for the next sort of 20 minutes, because as you were talking quickly then, as you were talking Andy Gath pace, we were missing every second or third word. So just pretend that you're Michael Guerin and everything will be fine. Skeeter, your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly the same. I think there's obviously plenty of shorties, and I think they all should be very, very hard to beat. I'd be surprised if any of them go under. In saying that, with, like Andy said, it's probably the 2-year-old trotters, the inexperienced horses that you have that slight question mark over. Obviously, favourites in both of those, but I think they're the only ones. The rest should be winning.
Yep, I think it's pretty cut and dried for most of the races. Question 2, and by the way, we've got the call out for new sponsors. I think it's going to be a changing of hands very soon, so you may only hear this one more time. Soak it in, enjoy it. Question 2 of the Burning Questions is brought to you by the Fresh Connection. They export Australian fresh fruit, not stale fruit, to more than 35 countries. Damien Glengarry, I'm told, is the export manager. Never met him, but everybody says he does a magnificent job. The Fresh Connection specialises in citrus, table grapes, cherries, and mangoes. Skeeter, is Chissy called checkmate on tonight's Metro Trot decider simply by drawing the front? We know he was a really good winner. That was the first time he'd led in 8 months. Sean McNulty was on the text when I was doing retrospective on Monday, which you would normally do with me, and sort of said, have you set his record in front? No, sure, not for 8 months, but he goes really good in front, and I think you'll find the front again.
Yeah, look, I think the draw does make him the horse to beat. There's no doubt about that. It is a big advantage with his main dangers, I think, off the back row. And he just seems to go so well when he can get to the pegs, doesn't he? So definitely the horse to beat, but there's good money up for offer, so they might make him work a little bit harder to get there this week. So I don't think we can declare him over the line pre-race, but yeah, obviously Brownlow Prince, nephew of Sunoco, they're quality horses off the back. So the one to beat over the line, no.
Matty, I don't know whether you're watching a sporting contest over there or just doing your last elements of form, but you're just sort of, the gaze is just over here and you're just assessing a few things. Talk to me about Chissy in race 1, the Metropolitan Trot Final.
Well, I was just looking at the field there, Bon, and if you look at Clive Alley, Fernando's Son and Golden Sunset, they might have a little bit to say in the result of this race. And if any of those can get out a little bit quicker and look to even hold Chissy wide into the first turn, or try and find that coveted spot behind him, it might bring a couple of those off the back row. But Golden Sunset's a horse that always promises a lot, and it definitely has its share of ability. And if he lands leaders back or happens to land in front, he could have a say in this race as well.
If you were driving Golden Sunset and you found the pegs first, would you park Chissy or would you hand up, Matty?
Well, I don't like handing up, Bon, but sometimes it's the best option. And if one of the ones around on the back row want to come around and race Chissy, it could be the best option.
What are your thoughts here, Andy? I thought Nephew of Sunoco was the dominant heat winner, but I think with the draws, I'm settled on Chissy.
Yeah, I think on the front, probably not as he did last week. Obviously, he's drawn a little bit wider, but I thought he was quite dominant last week, Chissy. He never really got challenged, and he was really strong up the straight, and I was really impressed. I'm in your court, Dave Bond. I think if he leads, he'll be.
We both haven't been well lately, so I think caring for each other is an important thing at this time during our recovery. So I like where you're heading with this. Question 3, the burning questions. Little message, Matty. Who was that? Who got that?
Getting a bit of love on Snapchat.
Oh, a little bit of snap. I don't want to see what's on there. You've already told me about meal jury. Brought to you by APG. Go to apgold.com.au. Question 3. Andy, will Tay Tay and Cheyalla continue the dominance of their golden generation fresh up this evening? We saw last week. Treachery was able to win first up from a break. Doug's Babe dominant as well. This is an amazing, phenomenal group of 4-year-old mares. Can they continue? Cheyalla hasn't trialled, and Tay Tay's got an interesting race to confront. But will they be winning or not?
Well, they can both win. There's no doubt about that. I wouldn't say they're over the line, but again, it's an amazing template that we're working from in at those from last season and how they've all progressed. They go to the races, they all tend to win. So, yeah, they're definitely going to have the opportunity to win both of them. But, yeah, it just depends what odds they are and how forward they are in their preparation early on, I suppose. But they're both quality mares and both going to have great futures. And there's no doubt they can both win, but depending on price, depending if I'd be backing them or not.
I purported an avant-garde theory on the radio today, and I think it's probably makes me sound like a moron. Not for the first time. But the depth of this division, have some of these mares gotten better because of the fact that they were racing Ladies in Red and Joanna and Tough Tilly? Or has that improved them, or is it just an amazing generation where there's 10, 12, 15 good fillies that have come out of last year's 3-year-olds?
Yeah, no, I competition makes you better. And I think across the board that in Victoria, why harness racing's got so more difficult and so hard to win everywhere, because horses run so much faster these days, so they're getting more condition. Trainers, even if they're just hobby trainers, their horses going to the races and benefit a lot more from it because they're going so quick. So I just think across the board that, most horses are getting better with the harder competition. And again, they all got carried along through that generation of chasing home Ladies in Red, Tough Tilly and Joanna. It's just a long list of them. And yeah, and they're all emerging, having their own careers now.
Skeeter, I've tipped them both on top. I think I'm keener on Tay than Cheyalla.
Yeah, look, it's interesting, isn't it? I think the draw obviously is with Cheyalla to give her the best possible, and she's gone 155 over the middle, which I think is probably about average for that grade of race and the horses contesting it. So, yeah, slight question mark with her, obviously, without the trial, but in saying that, her last run wasn't all that long ago, so she can absolutely win. And the same with Tay Tay. We know the speed she's got. She's a very, very quick and exciting mare now. And I had a chat to Albie this morning for an article that I'm penning tomorrow on Tay Tay's comeback, and he said she is forward enough. She obviously trialled nicely last time, and he said she had plenty left in that trial as well. And he said there's no doubt that she can win this week. He's confident, but history has shown that we usually see the best of her, her third or fourth run back. So improvement to come, but still forward enough to win this week. And I think if she can settle handy enough and just use her speed late, she's a massive winning chance once again.
You're a print journalist these days as well, Skeeter. I mean, do you want to leave anything for me, or you're a print journo as well now?
Try to do a bit of everything.
Maddie, we could brand up that little room you're in. That black backdrop, there's something I like about that. Put some LED lighting and maybe Maddie Craven. I like it. Tay Tay and Cheyalla, what are your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Cheyalla's race is I think quite open, from how I read the race. And to her outside, you see two Julie Douglas runners and then one off the second row behind Cheyalla. So, that could be a really telling factor into the first corner as to how easy she's going to get it. And I don't think, that she's going to get it real easy early. And over the trip first up, I think she could be quite vulnerable late. And a lot of those horses are more than capable of making a fair race of this. So, she's probably a risk first up in how I read the race and what could unfold early, especially. And Tay Tay.
Sorry, go with Tay Tay.
I was just say Tay Tay, she's trialled nicely for this and first up over 1700. I think you'll find her in front. If Pray Tell can hold her back, her form's been terrific and she's a lovely tough mare, and she'll probably appreciate being on the pegs in this race. So those two are going to be the two to beat and probably run the Quinella, I'd say.
Now tell me, we know you don't like handing up. You've already told us that, Matty. But Cheyalla, will it be in front or will it be handing up for something first up?
It'd be interesting. You would think they'd like to be in front, but if it is in front, I can't see it getting an easy lead or an easy trip throughout. Just with those runners drawn to her outside, I'm thinking that they will want to make it a truly run race.
In a word, Andy, in front or hands up to something like Fire Rock, Fire Roll?
I reckon it'll hand up first up.
Skeeter.
Hands up to Fire Rock, Fire Roll.
I think that's the most likely scenario. Now, question 4, the last of our burning questions, and maybe we'll be saying this for the final time, is with thanks to Falbo Fruits. They are specialists in table grapes. Since the 1960s, Michael and Josie Falbo are keeping the tradition going, and everyone loves their grapes. Keep an eye out for Falbo Fruits. You know you'll love them. Question 4, Matty Craven, can Bulletproof Boy cement his status? I've said winter, it's only autumn. I've gone a bit early. You know what I mean? Best of the rest with the big guns off the scene. Can Bulletproof Boy prove that he's better than these? Because he'll have to be from the wide second line draw.
Yeah, I think, look, he's been in super form and he's a horse that I love to follow, and he's so honest and he always runs these cracking races at big odds. For, in this race over 1700, it's so hard to win off the back row, and, he'll be relying on a pretty fast first quarter, and the interesting horse that is showing a lot of potential, Dennis William. If he happens to find the front, he could have a lot of say in this race and make it really hard to be run down. And I think it'll really depend on the first quarter for Bulletproof Boy, whether he's going to be able to get over the top or not.
Prayers for the big boy. Love Dennis William. Oh, I love these races, Andy. You always want to see the best horses going around, but with the absolute cream of the crop off the scene, these free-for-alls are a lot more exciting, aren't they?
Yeah, no, definitely. And hopefully I've had Tango Tara back in a couple of weeks and he can sort of go into the mix as well. So, yeah, no, they're tricky little races, and we all love Bulletproof Boy. We love the way he races, and, he generally wins when he's big odds and generally gets beat when he's favoured. So, he might start favoured in this race. He doesn't go back-to-back very often. That's the only thing against him. There's not times throughout his career that he sort of puts two wins together. So, but yeah, he can definitely win. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think he'll have any, much dominance throughout the winter if he keeps racing. It's all going to tend to take their turn just depends how the races run. But yeah, he's a horse that can, even if the tempo's not too quick, he can still motor home. So won the beat, but I'd probably go elsewhere if I was having a bet.
Now you're looking quite healthy again, Andy. It's got to be said. So you're bouncing back well. I mean, I've had some back issues recently. I know you've had some lumbar problems in the past. Don't leave, Andy. Don't leave because I'm talking to you about lumbar problems. And I did see a text message you might have sent to a colleague of mine saying, well, all I have to do is talk and you've got to work for 15 hours a day, which I felt was not overly gracious, it has to be said. But you are looking, you're looking like you're back on track. Are you back on track?
I'm not 100%, but I'm back. I'm going all right. Still have a bad back, but we're all right. I'm only here talking, so it's not hard.
Well, we always like to talk about horses. What are you out of 100? You about 85?
I've never been 85 in my life, so I'm probably about 70.
Yeah, we'll tuck you along the poles and look for some cheap runs. Hey, Skeeter, Bulletproof Boy. I don't think he's over the line. I just love the race. Julian, I reckon, was a moral beaten last weekend. Kaki knew he was involved in that interference. My big boy, Dennis Williams, Shorty's made. It's a great race, but I'd love to see Bulletproof Boy win. I reckon he's got a cult status.
Yeah, he really does. He's absolutely flying, and the draws done on dollars over the short always make it really interesting. And we know it's hard to do when off the wide second row draw over the 17.20 at Melton, but Bulletproof Boy has done it before, and I just think he's going so well. So my slight concern, probably like everyone else, is if there's not enough pressure in the race and it just becomes impossible for him. But we know he's very, very quick and can peel off some really slick sectionals late. So yeah, I still think he's the one to beat, and he's really got a cult following, doesn't he? So it'd be great to see him notch up his 32nd win, I believe.
Before we get to the best bets on episode 1, season 2, burning questions, Matty, thanks for waiting until I'd written up the form before you scratched Kowalski analysis. That made life easy on me, brother. Really, prayers. Tell me what's going on with the horse.
We've just had probably like a little virus going through the stable, and he raced below par Saturday night. And he pulled up a little bit dehydrated, but then today, after sort of jogging quite through the week and looking okay, he come in with a real snotty nose, and that's what tells the story of. It's been consistent with some of the runners that they have a run, they don't go quite as good, and then a few days later they tend to come in with that snotty nose, and it's something that they're obviously fighting when they're racing, and then a few days later it sort of comes to a head. So just one of those things. We'll just treat him and continue on with our prep. They seem to be getting over it and through it okay. It's just one of those things.
I love the fact you've got an SCW Eurodrive pen, but you've made sure it's registered. He's very particular about the branding. It's Ferrari. I'll give my best bet first. All shook up in the final event. I'm hoping that Andy decides, and Geordie Leadham, more importantly, decides to hold the lead with He's Under Wraps, and I reckon all shook up will be 1-1, peel, roll, bang, boom, all over. Matty, what's your best on the card?
I'm hoping my big mare can bounce back in the trot. It's back to her probably pet, over the long distance, and if she can have a quiet run, and she's got to do everything right, obviously, but if she does that, I think she can bob up.
If we're feeling good in transit, do we drive her aggressively?
Not necessarily. I think some of her more impressive runs have actually been when she's driven very conservative, and we might look to take that approach a little bit more now that she's up in grade.
Only asked the question, Matty. You didn't need to get so bloody defensive. Skeeter, what's your best bet?
You're not going to like this. I've gone a bit of a multi first up for the new season. So I'm going with Major Delight, Catch a Wave and Just Hope. All short, all should be winning. And then throw in Pray Tell the Place. And I can't give you exact price, but it'll be $2 and something, I'm guessing.
What's happened to you? What happened to you during your break? Did aliens come and abduct you or something?
Well, I can't tip a shorty. There's nothing else I was super, super confident with. And, there's a lot on the line first up to get one home.
Before I get you... Yeah, sorry, Matty.
Some inspiration off the Twitter tipper that's made 700.
We're not getting 700, but we might, hopefully we can get...
Andy, before I get your best bet, because it's what everyone waits for. Basically, they just listen to us talk excrement for a while and then wait for your best bet. Are you of the opinion that Catch a Wave is potentially the best horse you've ever trained, best pace you've ever trained?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
I was expecting a little bit of resistance, and I've been shook a few times here, early and late. Your best bit of
How much ago?
No, you said it was the best young horse. Calm down.
Oh, okay.
Very good memory, Andy. You said it was you spruiked it early, but now you're putting him above some pretty nice horses. Caribbean Blast are about to rock another. Right, who's your best bet, please, Andy?
Yeah, mine's one of my own. It's a little bit short, Basilica, but I think it get the job done. And I haven't got a multi, but I got a roughie. I just think Candyman back on Code Black. I think it's going really well, and I think it's got some hope.
Jeez, I'll tell you what, if you can get Code Black home, I mean, you're already very high in my estimation, but that will send you to another level. Very quickly before we say goodbye, Basilica doesn't do things wrong seemingly, but looks like he's within a hair's breadth of doing things wrong. Is he pretty safe?
Yeah, no, he's really safe. I don't want to moz him, but the whole time we've had him since we've broken in, I reckon he's broken twice in his lifetime, and probably one of them a kangaroo jumped out in front of him.
We'll hope for a kangaroo, I guess, for the locomotive. They're your best bets. That's been Burning Questions, Episode 1, Season 2. We've come back with a bang. Well done, Matty Craven. Well done, Andy Gath, and well done, Nikkita Ross. Hopefully you enjoy. We'll be back next week.